Hello everyone, we're back with another episode, and today we got a special guest out of Arizona. Her name is Bianca. She is the owner of Lotus Theory Designs, and she makes custom furniture, which is that awesome piece in the background. Say hello, Bianca.
Hi, world.
We're also back with our ghost, Julie.
What up?
As a third co-host. So I've known Bianca, or known of Bianca, for a number of years. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a really long time. We kind of met via Facebook, I believe it was, through the photography.
No. Oh, you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
You are incorrect.
Okay.
MySpace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that doesn't, that's going to help give you a timeline anyway. That was a while ago.
That was like a minute ago.
Yeah. So, how was your transition from photography into the custom furniture? How did that happen?
It was easy. And I'll say that it was easy because it was an obvious choice. I was pretty much at the end point of my journey of photography. For about a year, I simultaneously did both the weddings and the furniture. And what started to happen was I'm only one person, mm-hmm. and I give 100% to both businesses. I found that I enjoyed being isolated more and at home more. And physically, it's a lot easier to do the furniture than it is to, as you well know, as a photographer, get down on the ground and up in trees and take pictures and run here and run there doing weddings. And,
yep.
and just getting older and not being the young spring chicken.
So
I got a middle-aged woman to carry around. So with that said, it was kind of a no-brainer.
So do you find it a little more freeing as an artist to be able to have, when I was doing photography, I always felt like there was a lot of pressure because you're dealing with clients, you're dealing mm-hmm. with models, it just felt like a lot of pressure to perform. Do you feel like doing the custom furniture at all makes it a little more freeing where you're able to just go off on your own and do your own thing?
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Toward the end of my photography journey, I started to think maybe I should have just stuck with the art side mm-hmm. of it rather than, getting into weddings and family portraits. And that's all good and well. I mean, the money's there. However, the creative freedom wasn't. And so, in this business, Lotus Theory Designs, the furniture, one of the things that I told myself and that I really have to stick to is that I'm going to protect this art and not, get to a point where I feel like I'm being burnt out by restricting my creative side. So I really don't even do customs anymore. I just do what I want.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool because I feel like, not to interject, but it's my microphone.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like with photography, you have these clients or customers, whatever you want to call them, and they have certain expectations.
Yes.
And they have, this idea of what they want. And if you don't meet that, then it's like, okay, you suck. But with what you're doing, which I can totally appreciate, because what you have, just those two items, that looks phenomenal, you have such a bigger market because you're not doing it for someone, it's for you. Right. And if someone happens to come across it, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You have that person that loves it. There are no expectations. It's just you being free and doing whatever you want and to hell with whatever anyone else thinks. That's cool.
Yeah. And there's another aspect of it too. I mean, I'm a disgruntled photographer. I'm not even gonna lie there.
Don't sugarcoat anything.
And I absolutely avoided shooting weddings, and I didn't like shooting like family stuff or anything like that. It was very personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I lean more towards the art, but I also like shooting with people, but just individual people. So there was a lot of disrespect in terms of being a photographer, being an artist. It was seen by painters and whatever else is this. What you're doing here isn't artwork. It's easy, and what you're doing here with the furniture just shuts all of that up.
Well, thank you. No, I absolutely understand what you're saying. As a photographer, I'll give you an example. I will never forget, I was trying to pose a bride and a groom, and I was trying to get her to do what I wanted her to do, just turn this way, stand here. And she's like, we don't want stupid pictures. And that was pretty much when I was like, I got to get out of here.
Oh.
About to choke a heifer.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, why would you hire me if you feel that the result that I'm gonna present to you is stupid?
Exactly.
That was like, I'm done. I'm
Wow.
out.
Yeah.
That was a big fear of mine when it came to shooting weddings, is that I always felt like you had one shot at this. And I was so concerned that they weren't going to like my vision of what I was taking, that I would ruin that one opportunity for them to get pictures, and it wasn't worth any amount of money to me. So that was what pushed me away from that. I was like, because inevitably my pride's going to get on the line, and then I'm going to get sad and all upset about it. Maybe it's just me being a chicken, but I mean, that's really the thoughts that were going through my head. I was like, I'm not doing that. So it was just, your experience with that particular couple saying that to you, that would have derailed
That
me.
would have done me in for sure. No, absolutely. I'm with you. I would never. I do it on a personal level for me, so I can put them in the house, and anyone that comes into the house, they can see what I do, which is not, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It's very basic, very simple. But I like it for me because I'm like, oh, I did a really good job.
Yeah.
Pat myself on the back, but I don't put it out there. What you see on Facebook that's how basic it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm a simple person when it comes to photography. I don't, like with the advent of filters and stuff like that through Instagram and everything, and I started to see that popping up in people's photographs, especially, because I came in at the very beginning of the digital scene, and I was one of the very few people that was pushing those really low-end DSLR cameras.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, and I would get flack for it because they're like, there's grain in it or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to take the shitty pictures that you're taking. So, and then to transition into this digital era where everybody's got, a decent camera on their phone, and, then they got all the filters to try to make it look somewhat like the pictures that we bust our ass to do. It was like bad taste in my mouth.
I will admit, I use my phone a lot. I still have my camera. I have a Nikon. It's like a very low end Nikon that I toy with every now and again, but I'm like, well, now at this point in time, where can I go to get the pictures?
Yeah.
It might be a minute before
So
I can
you
go
still
do
got
that.
a film camera?
No. I have
okay.
No.
You hush your face.
You my face too, girl.
Look, I don't know if you guys have ever done darkroom stuff. That was one of my most favorite things in the whole world.
Patrick did.
And I could sit in a darkroom for hours on end, dicking off in there, playing around. And, if I had the means to just throw away money like that, I would. But, it's a dying industry.
Unfortunately, yeah. I would love to. I think that'd be kind of cool to check that out. I know that Patrick's school had some sort of class that you could do something like that, but.
Have you ever done darkroom stuff, Bianca?
I did, and what I remember liking the most was the smell.
The chemicals. You're all sniffing the trays.
And gosh, I don't even remember what they're called. It's been so long, but yeah, just going in, and there was just the ambiance of the particular lighting, because you couldn't expose your film to bright light, obviously. And then as you're exposing your print and dipping it in the liquid, the smell. I don't know. I remember that so vividly, more than any dodging, burning, using the equipment or anything.
Yeah.
It smelled like accomplishment, because you worked hard for those pictures.
Well, I don't know if I worked hard, but
Well, I don't know about that.
one of my photography teachers in Oregon, he actually said this. He's like, you make me really upset. And he's all, because you make this look like it's easy. You just fuck off all in class, and then you just come out with a good picture. And I'm like, well, because this is not meant to be stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm doing this because I like to do it. Mm-hmm. And if it was stressful, I wouldn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So explain to us all this stuff in your background here. You've got you look like an art store back here now.
I know. Look at that.
I guess we'll start with this. I recently did this, and she sold within a couple of hours. She's getting shipped from here in just outside of Phoenix to Bismarck, North Dakota. And then this is something that I started. I'm trying my hand at canvas painting, and did a live actually on my Facebook page last week with a phenomenal artist, Carolyn Muncie, that kind of walked me through getting to this point, and I've just been kind of tinkering with it since. So as far as all the paint, I mean, this is my art studio, and this is where all the magic happens. I'm just in my garage, nothing fancy, which is wonderful because I'm quarantined.
Yeah.
So really not a whole lot has changed for me as far as being at home and working. So yeah.
when you take the, Angela can show the viewers some of the pictures and stuff of the pieces that you had. When you take these pictures and set up this scene so that you can display it, are you doing it in your garage? You're doing it in your house? Where are you doing this at?
So I no longer have a dining room. That is my staging area. Okay. So that's all happening in my dining area, where I built a staging area using a few pieces of sheetrock, putting them together and kind of doing a full wall so that I could texture it and not ruin the wall that's underneath.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
It's a studio.
That I catch them out, yeah. And then some of my stuff I Photoshop. I don't always Photoshop, but sometimes I will change a background out. A plus side to having that photography background, right, is that yes. I have an opportunity to put it to use in this business. And because of those photography skills, it is actually proved profitable on my end, just whether it be editing people's backgrounds for them, trying to give them a realistic scape with their furniture, or maybe doing some product photography for companies and whatnot. So
awesome. So it's not just the furniture. You're also able to work with, I would assume that you have some sort of partnerships with the art suppliers, as well as networking with other people that are doing this type of furniture.
Yeah. I'm part of a vast network, and I'm actually a brand ambassador for a couple of companies, one of which is Dixie Belle. So all of that paint that you see, all of the shelving is just lined with Dixie Belle paint. Okay. And so I'm one of their brand ambassadors. There's 9 of us in the company. So, wow. And then I'm also a ambassador for Wood You Bend, which is these appliques that you see here.
Okay.
So
how do those attach? Go ahead, Julie.
Glue.
No, that's okay. I'm looking at her paint because you said that you started doing canvas, and I just had a quick question. Is that your first attempt at canvas, or is that just something that you're showcasing for this, or?
No, it's my second attempt at canvas, and yeah, I mean, I guess I am kind of showcasing for what we're doing here and now, just to put something in my backdrop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was there, and I'm like, what the heck?
That is awesome.
That's her 2 most recent things that she's working on, correct?
Yeah, I have a chair that I is in the other room that I am finishing up today, actually, once we're done here. And I'm calling it #I love the 90s because it's just bursts of color all over the face.
I like it already.
Yeah, really.
I don't even need to see it. I'll take it. That's really cool.
So how do you deal with the shipping end of that? Because for those that have followed me, I've tinkered around with many things, and I built some pieces of furniture or reupholstered furniture before, and the shipping just seemed like an overwhelming nightmare of a headache. And I was just so paranoid that they would break it. And like I'm looking at this piece in your background,
Right.
and I would be horrified if FedEx or UPS busted a leg off of that or something.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't use FedEx or UPS for that reason. They don't care.
okay.
They just toss things around, and that's that. Whereas I use white glove shippers. I try to stick to shippers that I have worked with in the past and trust. And I am right there with them as they're loading it into their trailer and wrapping it up real nice using saran wrap and blankets. And they take it directly from here to point B, which would be my client's home, and bring it in for them.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like it's changing trucks and changing hands and people just tossing things around. They take responsibility for it, and the guys that I work with have a lot of integrity for what they do. Not only for what they do, but for what I do too. So,
If you don't mind me asking, how did you find a company that you trusted to do that? I mean, is it one company that you use or numerous ones?
I have a couple, but right now I'm using one because he's just on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
As far as how I found him, word of mouth, this industry, things get around. We talk, so, and we ask each other like, hey, I need a shipper. For whatever reason, my shipper's not coming through, or I use this guy, I didn't like him, whatever. And they're like, hey, well, I've got this guy. They're not big companies. They're just mom and pop shippers, just like I have going on here. Small one-man operation. So
Awesome. Is there any ever issues where, let's say I were to buy something from you, is there any issues that maybe these shippers are like, well, that's out of our way, I mean, how does the logistics behind all that work?
You just find a different person.
You just keep hunting. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Refuse to go to like New York City, for example. I'm sure all of them right now are like, we're not going there. But, I have had them say, it's just not worth it to have to navigate all the tolls and the traffic and congestion with this big trailer, etc.
Mm-hmm.
You just find somebody else that's willing to do it.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about your past because I've never really asked you about this. I know that you have family connection in Buffalo, New York.
Uh-huh.
So were you born in Buffalo?
Boston.
You were born in Boston. Okay.
I'm at, but the Boston area is where I'm from.
So explain a little bit about your travels and how you ended up where you're at and the connection to Buffalo.
So I oftentimes will compare myself to the Fresh Prince. You know how he went from Philadelphia to what was it, Bel Air or Beverly Hills or one of them. And, he went from pretty much this poor living to having money. And that's often how I will compare myself because I grew up very poor in the projects, hungry. I mean, I remember even living in an abandoned building at one point. And I'm also the oldest of 7, so let's just throw that out there.
Wow.
I was getting into trouble around the age of 12. And, given my past and how I was being raised and the things I had to endure, of course I was going to start getting into trouble.
You waited until you were 12?
My mom sent me out here to live with my aunt and uncle, who at the time had a whole lot of money, and just showed me love. And I ended up here.
So you waited till you were 12 to get in trouble? I think I started when I was 2.
Right. No, I was always a good kid. I think I just, had a bad situation.
Yeah. So do you ever foresee yourself moving out of Arizona?
I flirt with that idea often. Obviously, I did move once. I moved up to the Buffalo area. Mm-hmm. I was there for a year and a half, decided that was not for me and came back. I flirt with the idea.
Where would you go?
In these times, I am glad that I'm here. We don't have quite as many cases as corona cases as some other places. We're more spread out, so it's not like we're right on top of each other like other places. Mm-hmm. We don't have a lot of the natural disasters going on as far as earthquakes and tornadoes and, I would flirt with it, but right now I feel very safe being here in Arizona.
So where would you go to if you were to move out of Arizona?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I love Europe. I mean, if we're dreaming, let's go big, right?
All right.
Yeah.
I spent some time in Europe about maybe 10, 12 years, probably 12 years ago. Man, I remember it when I just arrived in France. I was literally walking and singing through the streets. I just felt like I maybe had been some type of like...
You're like in a movie.
Yeah, like in a past life there, so...
That's awesome.
Yeah, I still haven't gone into Europe and, overseas, but that's definitely was on
It's on the
Angela and
list.
I's, short list of things to do.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've been all over this country. Even if it's just driving through, I've been all over this country, and I got a pretty broad perspective on, the way different people behave differently in different areas, and just the whole scene just being totally different. I want to see what's over there.
Across the pond.
Across the pond. I want
See
to
what
see.
it's like. Check it out.
See, is it rowdy over here? Is it laid back? I mean, what's going on here?
It's probably all the same, just in a different language.
Maybe. It's like when I first visited New York City, our friends that were showing us around, I was like, look, I want to go right into the ghetto. I was like, let's not sugarcoat anything. Let me see the worst of this.
Balls deep.
I want
Might
to
as
see
well.
the shit that's in the movies.
Oh my God. Take me to the hood. I would have done a tuck and roll. Keep going. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Shit. Jeez.
So when you started doing the furniture stuff, how did you discover the groups and things that you're networking with? Is are they like Facebook groups? I mean, how did you get to that point?
Oh, gosh. Oh, you're taking me back. I have to try to remember. I'm pretty sure it was just word of mouth. Like, hey, join this group. Hey, I've got this resource. Started off here locally. Eventually started finding groups as the industry grew and I grew. More and more groups were emerging, pertaining to the craft. And I actually run a group now, more like a ghost at this point. I'm so busy in other areas that we have a nice set of admin women in place to help run that group. So yeah, just word of mouth though. I really think just like anything, right? Like when you refer a business and whatnot, people will talk.
It seems like, I mean, from an outside perspective, it seems like the networking that goes on in that group is more friendly compared to the stuff like, I do my welding and stuff. It's really shitty. I mean, these guys you'll post a picture of some of your work and they will rip you apart. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. This is dangerous. And, and the photography stuff was really catty. I found it as well, but it seems like just from watching what you're doing from a distance, it seems like it's more friendly. Am I wrong there or right?
I think if it seems that way, good. We're doing a good job of masking the cat, But I've had my ass ripped apart too, I just like, whoa, especially when I was a newbie, man, I took that stuff to heart. I just wanted to go hide and quit and never, just kind of do one of these and never see me again. So now I'm like, whatever. Yeah.
Confidence is growing enough.
Yeah.
Yes, thank goodness, because man, in any industry, there are some nasty, nasty people out there. Trolls that have no other function but to stir things up on the internet.
I think that's my biggest weakness with the social media aspect of anything as an artist is that I'm learning to just try to ignore some of it, but I fight back. It's in my blood to fight back.
It's a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
And then you think about it sometimes and you're like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. Well, I already did.
Yeah.
Whatever. Might as well
I
deal
didn't
with it.
always fight back, but there have been a few where I've spoken up just because, you know what, like, I'm going to make an example of you publicly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know? I told you, like, I mean, I have a normal middle class, whatever middle class is now, but normal middle class life now, but I am a hood girl at heart. So
Yeah.
don't get me going, you know?
Pop the nails off, take the weave out. Shit's popping.
Hold my hair.
When she starts tying her hair up, you better just spread.
Yeah. Things are getting wild here. Be like, I don't know if you guys notice this, but somebody's getting ready to fight.
Start recording after the other person hits.
Yeah.
Like, what's so funny is that oftentimes I think what people need to remember when people are being nasty on the internet, these people are not going to say these things to your face.
No, they won't.
Right?
They won't.
Nah, they feel anonymous. They feel safe behind a computer screen.
Mhm.
And, you know, they're just not going to do that. So, you know, that is something that has helped me anyway to just let things go and kind of do this, which is they wouldn't say that to me. They would not say that to my face if they walked up to me. A 6-foot woman in public, you know? They just wouldn't do it. And I think that applies to anybody, you know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, most people wouldn't do that anyways, even if they were, you know, a smaller person. They're just, it's so easy to just be nasty to somebody on the internet.
It is, because you could easily just be like, all right, done.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't have to deal with it.
Because, I mean, I've been watching your growth as an artist for so long. And I'm just, like, thoroughly impressed with how things have escalated and how you've just evolved. And it's like, if I saw somebody saying something nasty about your work, I would go after them viciously. Be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You've got your own pit bull.
Yes, and I will remember that. I do have a small entourage of pit bulls, so I'll just add you to the mix.
So you made a post regarding, you know, the disrespect, or not necessarily disrespect, but the value of an artist. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Let's get into the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm brand ambassador for a couple of companies. I was a brand ambassador for the company in that post that I was referring to. And, you know, I'm going to try to keep this as correct and as, you know what I'm trying to say.
The wig is going to stay on.
You know, they have a very different idea as to how an artist should be treated and compensated for the efforts that they put in to help their company grow. And because I did not agree with their proposal to me, as far as what, you know, I would get in return for the services as an ambassador for them would provide, I didn't agree with it. I walked away. And honestly, it's been a few days now since I've officially done it in a public capacity, a few weeks actually, and I'm just not looking back. I feel free and liberated. It's very much like we were talking about earlier about feeling, you know, with the weddings and the portraits, and feeling like our creativity is just being choked and stifled. You know, it's very similar to that, and that's just not how I roll. Again, like I said earlier, I made a promise to myself to protect this craft. And I know the value in my work. I know the value in the content that I'm putting out there, the value in not only, you know, good paint jobs, but also in my photography and my post and in my following. It's just growing. It's not as huge as I'd like it yet, but it's getting there. And so I know the value in all of those things. And I also know the value in myself as a human being and as a woman. And so when a company came, you know, would come to me, and I feel that it's not a fair quid pro quo, mutually beneficial relationship. Speaking to artists everywhere, you know, you have to assess that and ask yourself, is it worth it? You know, can I follow through with this and feel good about what I'm doing, knowing that, you know, I'm not being compensated fairly,
Yeah.
whether it be monetarily or any other, form of payment.
Yeah, that's because being on YouTube and having my YouTube activity and stuff like that, inevitably there's companies that come to me and, some of them are as simple as, hey, we're going to send you something. We want to, want you to do a review on it or want you to use it in our videos. We're talking about tools in most cases. So some of this stuff is really expensive.
Right.
Somebody might send me a $700 saw that I
Right.
really want anyway. And they're like, just use it. And I'm like, okay, fine, that works. We'll just,
Exactly.
it's a bartering thing, I'm like, send it on over.
Sure. If I have to.
Yeah. But then there's companies that I'll get all the time from China that are like, hey, can you review this or review that? And I'm like, probably not, man. I mean, number one, I may not need it. I know I can look at it and tell it's bullshit. And I'm not going to lie to people about it.
Right.
It's like, we need to start talking money here if I'm going to be reviewing things that I don't like or
Right.
putting forth a bunch of effort into something that just doesn't flow with what I'm doing.
Right.
So I could totally see where, working with any of the companies that you would be affiliated with, where that would be a touch and go type of thing where you don't want to burn any bridges, but at the same time, this is art to you. This isn't Kmart.
Well, currently it's my lifeline. It's my therapy. It's my sanity, so even more now than ever, I feel the need to protect it. With everything that's going on outside of these doors in the world right now, this is what I have. And I just cannot, allow somebody to tell me what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and get nothing for it.
Yeah.
You had mentioned about getting, products from perhaps China that you're like, oh, I can already tell that that's not good. I actually have worked for other companies in the past in a, influencer capacity. And there are things that I won't do. I won't use products because I just don't like the product, and it has nothing to do with them personally. Maybe they're great business people. Maybe they're the best people on the planet. But if you're going to give me a product and ask me to do a review, use it, etc., and I find that it's not, it's subpar, it's not as good as it needs to be, I'm not going to sit here and tell my followers, this is great, you should buy it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Check out these brushes. They're wonderful. And they're dropping hairs all over everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. I worked in the restaurant industry years ago, and it would be the same thing. People would say, "How's the breaded fish," for example, and I'd be like, "Ooh, no, you don't want that."
Yeah. Well, if you don't, you lose your credibility.
Yeah.
And then people aren't going to trust in your judgment and anything you're doing, so it just puts a bad taste in your mouth.
Well,
absolutely. No pun intended.
True.
I don't think these companies realize how valuable that is. It doesn't matter if you've got 5,000 followers or 100,000 followers. Those people are there because they trust you.
Right.
And, I got into a kind of a thing with all my rebranding on my YouTube channel and doing this podcast and stuff. And I was trying to explain it to somebody. I was like, you have to understand that I'm selling me. The product is me. It's not my welding. Mm-hmm. It's not the podcast. It's me. It's anything that I get involved in. That's the product. And that integrity and my artistic creativity is what I'm delivering, and it has to stay pure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Absolutely. There's a lot of people out there, and to each their own. By no means am I trying to bash, but I know for what I do compared to some of the work that, for example, locally is being thrown around. I have people say, your stuff is so expensive. I can go down here and get it for, $300 cheaper. And it's like, well, go down there and get it for $300.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, then let me help you. My talent is based, or my prices are based. There's a saying, my prices are based on my talent and not your budget, Well, and people are literally just throwing paint on something and selling it for like dirt cheap. Well, then they come to me. I've literally had people come to me 6 months later, the paint peeled off.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry. That's really sad, but.
Well, and when we're getting into the value of what it is that you do, there regular people that have never put their effort into doing like a furniture piece, like what's behind you, they have no idea of the amount of work that's involved in that. You know,
Right.
I've never refinished a piece of furniture like you do, but I've done enough playing around with woodworking and furniture and stuff like that to know that there's hours upon hours and,
Mhm.
you know, and a tremendous amount of material that has to be purchased and tools.
Right.
And, you know, that stuff is not free. It's not
No.
something that, you know, when you're looking at trying to sell a piece of furniture and you can't compare it to an IKEA piece of furniture. It doesn't
No.
matter if it's used and refinished. There's just way too much effort and work put into it.
Right, right. Absolutely. There's a lot of work that goes into it. But I think that for the most part, some people like yourself, you know, may not go through all this or have done anything quite this elaborate. But I think most people understand that there is, at the very least, just prep. I mean, you know, I'm not the first person to paint furniture. People have been
Yeah.
painting furniture for what, 100 years, maybe more. I don't know. You know, it's dawn of time, I'll say. Anyway, you know, and so even back in the day, you know, they would sand it, strip it, sand it, prep it, prime it, whatever. You know, I think most people, for the most part, have a very basic understanding that you don't just walk up to something and throw paint on it.
So how do you, I have a question for you. So how do you compare like your first piece to where you are now? There we go. That's the one. Let me
I
see.
like you. That's a good question. It was a hot mess.
Yes.
A hot mess. Oh my gosh. And it just, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say. I thought it was awesome at the time. I was so proud. And I still am.
Yes.
Because that hot mess was the foundation for my growth.
Yes. You have to appreciate that. And you have to see, like, I think it'd be really cool to see like how far you've come, like different pieces and stages, and you're like, this is okay, now it doesn't look as bad.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Oh yes. Every once in a while, like on a throwback Thursday or something, I'll throw an old piece out there. Look what I did, you know, 4 years ago, and I thought it was great, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's good to look back at some of that stuff. But I mean, even like when I look at my old photography, some of the stuff that I thought was complete trash back then, I have a different view of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there
Yeah.
may have been pieces that you were working on where you really struggled with a certain spot, and you're like, and you know, 5 years later, you look at it and you're like, that actually looks really good.
Definitely. I have to say, your photography back in the day, I looked up to you so much as a new photographer on the scene, you know, and just, I'll never forget, you had a picture, and I think it was one of the radio personalities here in Phoenix, and she's wearing a fur hood, I think.
Oh, Lady
And
Law.
Yes, that's exactly who it was. And she's up against a like a glass and her reflection. Oh man, it was just so the mood. It was beautiful.
I remember
you.
that. We were in downtown Phoenix at night when we were doing that shoot with her.
Yes, that was a beautiful picture. I'll never forget that.
I'd
and
love
I
to
think
see that.
that was the ones that caught my eye.
Yeah, I was so nervous when I would do shoots. Because like if I was going off with Angela or somebody, it's no nerves at all. She knows who I am. She knows the process of me just stumbling around trying to find something.
I know how weird it's going to get.
Yeah, I know how weird it's gonna get. Or I may ask her to do something that most people are like, I ain't doing that.
Right.
I had that one picture of it's a model named Stephanie that she climbed into a water. And you probably don't know the process, but it's her in the water. Her eyes are kind of bluish gray, and the water's like surrounding her face. I asked her to get into an irrigation
I
canal.
remember that picture.
Yeah, I asked her to get into an
fantastic.
irrigation
Yes.
canal in South Phoenix. It was like we were shooting in this old abandoned house out there, and we were done. And when I sat down and had a meeting with her prior to the shoot to kind of tell her where I wanted to try to go with this, I had mentioned a water picture. And it just so happens as we were driving out, that irrigation canal was flowing. And I was pulling out of the driveway before, and I stopped and I looked at it, and I was like,
Yeah, wait a minute.
I was like, she's not going to do it, but I'm going to have to ask.
You never know until you ask.
I was like, it's right there. I see it. And she went for it. She went for it. But I always get super nervous about stuff like that because I'm I'm like, if it was me, I'd just dive right into that thing. No problem. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shower later.
Well, good for you for asking, because I mean, I remember that picture too. That picture was just so goth,
Yeah.
kind of dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like at that time in my life, I mean, we're talking what, early 20s? That was a while ago now. I remember just relating to that because I was kind of emo and dark myself. Not in a I need some therapy, lock me up way, but just in a trying to figure stuff out kind of way.
I feel like
you know?
everyone had that phase at some point.
Or some
Yeah,
of us,
you know what I'm talking about, exactly.
some of us are still there.
Yeah. You might slip in and out of it
Yeah.
every now and again. It's cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's fine.
I've always had I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I've always had a sweet spot for art like that.
Yeah.
And even still today, if I got back into photography,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard for me to do, but if I did, I would be right back into that genre, that path, and
Mm-hmm.
it's personal, I guess. It just seems a lot more personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that's my favorite furniture style. Just kind of the dark, edgy, almost, my friend says, like, it belongs in a vampire lair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's not a huge market for that. You know, and I'm very versatile. I do all kinds of stuff, but my favorite is anything that's just super, I don't know, masculine, industrial, yet has like a feminine mystique to it at the same time. Yeah.
That's
kind of
why
dark.
that's why
Yeah.
you like the lavenders and purples.
What about the lavenders and purples?
That's why you like using those colors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Because I lean towards those colors too, and it's because of that same thing. It's like trying to make something that's dark and masculine a little bit more feminine, so
Yeah,
okay.
it's lighter.
I can see that. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
because it still has that. Like if you're just looking at the piece behind you, it has a very big contrast difference. And typically stuff that's more feminine is very flat, as far as flat and bright.
Mm-hmm.
Where stuff that's more contrasty is definitely leans towards masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, that's my opinion, but
I mean, you're wrong, but I'm just kidding. Just nod. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Anyway.
Sure, fuck off.
Anyway.
Just sit over here, just lie to our faces.
Uh-huh.
What's the biggest piece you've ever done?
Size-wise?
Yeah.
Hey, girl, where you been?
What's the camera?
I'm over here.
Who's talking?
Yeah, okay. Hi. I'm trying to remember. I feel like it probably was an armoire. Oh, gosh. I can't remember. Probably an armoire of sorts. I know that there was one that I never posted, but that I had done and kind of, I tend to, sometimes I'll start a project and I'll just say I'm done. I'll lose interest and divorce it. And this thing stood about, I'm going to say 8 feet tall.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. Actually, there is another armoire that I did for a client that reminded me, and that thing probably stood 9 feet tall. I could not believe. I actually had to hire movers to help bring it to her once I was finished because I couldn't. It was too big.
Now, have you only done furniture? Like, have you ever done like murals or anything like that?
No murals.
No?
Just furniture.
Just
branching out into canvas, maybe decor and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My so Patrick's mother, she's an artist as well. She actually did the Central Square Library.
Yeah.
There's like a huge mural on the inside. Yeah. Had a slow moment. I apologize. If you could spell it out for me, I could probably say it better.
It's the country accent, the mural.
She painted a wall in the library, and it's pretty cool. But she's gotten like different projects throughout like West Monroe. I don't know if you're familiar. Like if you head east on 49, there's the small post office on the right hand side. There's like a big cow that's painted brown. Like, where's the beef? She did that. Anyway.
Shout out to the cow.
That's my story.
I've always, as far as like painting and stuff like that, and like I'm looking at that piece of furniture that you did, and I don't know what it looked like originally, but I can tell what you've added to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, that's where I struggle, is to create that image in my head.
Mm-hmm.
As a photographer, it was kind of easy for me because I would just see it. You know, like I said, with that water picture, I just knew that picture was there.
Right.
But to just start with a piece of furniture, I'm like always digging through, you know, other people's photographs of their works and picking and choosing elements that I like about it, and then try to, you know, treat it like a collage. So when I look at the stuff that you do, I'm like, God damn, that looks good. I'm like, why can't I do that?
Well, truly, I don't always go in with a mission either. I didn't actually, this was a mishap. So it started off as something totally different, and I didn't like where it went. And so I pretty much started new, stripped the drawer fronts, which is what I didn't like about it, stripped them down, and added these things to it with glue. I know you asked me earlier. Glue and heat. And it just kind of evolved as I worked on it. I don't always go in with a vision. I will literally just sit down in front of a piece of furniture sometimes and just, I don't know,
Just
it's like
have
a
at
spiritual
it.
experience. See what happens.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of Bob Ross when he would make mistakes and just
They're happy
whatever,
mistakes.
it's there. Yeah, happy mistakes. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm so fucking anal. I'm like, if there was like a little blotch of color somewhere where it's not supposed to be, I would freak the fuck out.
I have literally had to stop. In the beginning, I was very much so like that. This here is very much so like that, because I see the imperfections and I'm really bothered by them. You know?
Yeah.
Really bothered by them, but you know, I'm trying. It's taken me a while to get back to it because of that, but I'm not going to give up.
Well, from over here, it looks like it's great.
Yeah, no, it looks really awesome. I like
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do know what you're talking about because I nitpick the shit out of everything. I mean, when I go out in the public, I'll just looking at a piece of furniture, table, or something, and I just start tearing it apart in my head.
Mentally.
Yeah. I'm like, how did they make that? And I'm like, even to the point where we were inside one of the grocery stores and there was some tables at the Starbucks in there. I'm underneath the table taking pictures of it.
Oh my God. Can't take you anywhere. God.
I'm going to send you a self-help book.
Yeah.
So that's on the way.
Well, like when we went to the Corning Museum of Glass, Angela's walking around the gift store, and I'm like, there ain't nothing in here I want to buy. But I'm over here looking at the way the building was built.
Oh, for the love of God.
Taking pictures of certain parts of their I-beam structure and stuff like that, because I'm like, that looks awesome.
That's your inspiration for something down the road.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'll store those things away on my computer until I find something that needs to be industrial.
Makes sense.
So have you thought about making your own furniture?
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
Skill, time, caring.
I think you have the skill there, Missy.
Tools, you know, I'm slowly building my tools, kind of like, you know, as a photographer, I slowly built up my equipment. Same thing with my tools. Just skill, you know, it's a lot of math and, you know, knowing what you're doing and even, you know, just knowing how to work tools. And I mean, I do build some small things, decor type things. Like I built a spice rack in my house. Mm-hmm. That's safe. But to actually have to, you know, draw out and create architecture for like a dresser, maybe one day.
You should dive into it head first.
Yeah.
I think you would do well.
Just get in there.
Yeah.
In there. Okay.
You got to start somewhere.
No, seriously. I mean, I think your skill level, knowing what's involved with what it is that you do. I mean, the rough work part, that's easy. Anybody can rough out something, and you have all the finishing detail there. And
that's the hard part.
That's the hardest part. You know, I've seen cabinet makers and stuff make some really sturdy pieces of, you know, furniture. But I'm like, that looks like shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'll build a dresser and it's like doing this.
Yeah.
You know? Not knowing what I'm doing, you know. But hey, maybe you're right. Maybe I'll just dive in. Maybe I'll build a little desktop 2-drawer situation.
There you
and
go.
see
A
how
little
that
end
comes out.
table.
Yeah, well, something
Yeah.
small. And then you're going to get hooked.
Yep. This is where it starts, right here.
Yeah. So have you redone your kitchen and had all fancy cabinets and stuff like that?
Oh, no. They're still looking like they came out of the 90s.
Yes.
Hashtag I love the 90s again. There's that hashtag again.
See, Angela gets mad at me because I'm so stubborn about stuff like that. We need to remodel our house room by room. But I'm like, I have to make the kitchen cabinets.
He wants to make everything.
I was like, I have to make the kitchen cabinets. They have to be personal to me.
And it takes that much longer. I
Yeah.
know from experience. I'm still missing one cabinet because Patrick made them and he got just enough for what we had. And he messed up either the first or last one. He got so frustrated because he used that, not wicker, but it's like on the back of those old rocking chairs. It's like that weaved.
Oh, the caning?
The cane, yes.
Yeah.
So you have to soak it in water, stretch it out, whatever. And then he messed it up. So I am without a cabinet, like a door on one of my cabinets. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I can see every single thing in this cabinet because he got so frustrated that he broke it. Continue.
Yeah, that's Angela's frustration with me because I'm like, nope, it has to be right. I'm not even going to do it unless it's the way I want it.
And that's why we still don't have our
That's why it's not done?
table. Well, we had went to Gideon's. It's a secondhand furniture store. And we had bought a dresser that we turned into a media cabinet for our TV and stuff. And then we bought the other pieces to go with it, the headboard, mirror, because we were going to turn those into a coffee table, side table, etc. We don't have those pieces yet. They're still sitting in the dining room.
You need to mind your business.
Oh.
Hey, you are my business, mister.
I'm pretty sure this actually is her business.
So the media cabinet is done. Looks very nice, but that's as far as we got.
Yeah.
We have a wall, too. Don't forget about that.
Oh.
A wall.
You should, you know what, Angela, if you want to come over to my house, just for just a walkthrough, you'll really appreciate what you have. Like doors on your bedroom.
Door.
You're not sharing your room with a toddler, etc.
I do appreciate that the front door got done, and it's a very pretty orange, so I appreciate
Well,
that.
it's technically not done either, but whatever.
It's painted, so that's all I care about.
The trim work's not done.
It's not going to be orange, so I don't care.
Yeah, so, I have a lot of projects that need to be finished.
The honey-do list.
The honey-do list.
Yes, the ever-growing honey-do list.
Well, they're not really honey-do lists because I don't let her boss me around.
Yeah, because I'm not like, honey, do this. I'm just like,
If
can
it's
we
on
buy
a
it?
Yeah, if it's on a list, she's not bossing you. They're just tasks that.
It's things
That
that I'm like, I've got to do this. And then she's like, can you hurry it up?
Yeah.
Can we just go buy that? And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I hear you.
So,
Guy.
all of your, let's change subjects because I'm being bullied here.
Do you feel outnumbered?
Like you are surrounded.
The estrogen.
The
My
estrogen.
towel.
It's just.
Yeah.
Look, it's better than a bunch of wieners, so I'm just going to say that.
Speaking of, did you do the soy sauce?
No, I did not. Do you know what she's referring to? No.
Are you talking to me? I'm
Yes.
going with no.
Yes.
I know where my mind went, and I'm like, I don't know that I want to know.
You probably don't want
fine.
to know. Yeah, you'll have to go listen to
Like
that.
the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay, I'll check that out.
when we derailed.
Yeah, when we derailed. There's actually a clip about it on the 62 podcast page. So you can get straight to the horrible content.
Yeah. No, that's gold. Pure gold coming from my mouth.
Terrible ideas that I know somebody's going to do.
No one will own up to it.
Yeah,
I'm
they
waiting
won't-
on you.
So, when you first started doing this, obviously you didn't have all that stuff.
Mm. Obviously.
Yeah. I'm looking at that and I'm like, I've been doing my type of welding and fabricating, whatever crap I do forever, and I still don't have my shit together like you do. If I've got to paint something, I'm digging around looking for a dirty brush that's been in a dumpster or something. I'm like, you're very organized, and it looks like you got extras of everything.
I love it. Like, this makes my heart warm just seeing that.
It wasn't always like that. It was not always like that. Actually, I organized it again once we went into the whole, stay home, don't leave your home thing. I guess I'm organizing the garage again. Yeah, there was a time where I was digging for stuff. There was a time where I just did this out of my kitchen. And I had one little shelf on the wall with a few items on it.
Yeah, well, our dining room looks like a bomb went off in it.
It's kind of a homeless shelter for miscellaneous items.
Not the homeless shelter.
We've still got stuff in boxes from when we moved here 2 years ago. And then I had a coworker of mine had me reupholster some cushions for his dining room set. So I've got, remnants of foam and the dining room table and remnants of the fabric still here and there, staple guns, staplers.
I'm not a one-upper.
Yeah.
But when you have a collection of empty spray paint cans for no reason.
What are you guys spray painting in your house?
I can't tell you the last thing we spray painted. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh.
It's been years. Go on.
So, speaking of spray paint, so when I was building this studio and I decided to do this little wall thing here, I got the bright idea of spray painting that in the middle of the night. So,
in the house.
Yeah,
we did it in the house.
Yeah. Look, this room that we're in is upstairs above our kitchen, and there's a staircase that comes up the stairs from the kitchen, and it only leads to this room. And our room is all the way across the house, another set of staircase all the way up, not attached at all. So I'm like, it's not that big.
This will be fine.
I'll just spray it real quick, close the door, and then go to bed.
He almost died.
No.
It was so bad.
She probably slept so good because she was high.
Oh no, it was terrifying.
Couldn't even breathe.
I was in bed too, and I was like, we're gonna fucking die. I was like, we're gonna go to sleep and we're not gonna wake up.
This is it. It's like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing.
Yeah, just poison each other. Yeah. So I guess that's probably the reason why I'm not so concerned about the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Because I do stuff like that. Be like, yeah, I think I got this whole killing myself thing under control.
Yeah.
We have MREs on our dining room table for some reason.
We do.
You do?
I do.
Where'd you get them from?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
It's illegal.
Okay. Moving on.
I have a friend.
Supplier.
I have a friend that had some connections and he sold them to me.
Yeah. I think my dad still has his.
Does he?
From when he retired.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
We moved here in 93.
Are they supposed to last that long? I think they are.
No idea.
So they're vintage.
Oh,
MREs.
these are old. Yeah.
I was watching videos on YouTube of people test tasting those things.
Oh man, I remember eating them.
I was down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I've got nothing better to do than to watch some asshole on YouTube eating MREs.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that's out there. And you're like, yes, this is intriguing. Let me watch this for the next hour.
Yeah. So, do you have anything that you want to bring up or talk about?
Oh,
no pressure.
No pressure.
No, I know. I'm like, my gosh. if you caught me like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
I would be better at this because I feel like that's like job interview material right there. You gotta be quick.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, do you have any questions for
That's
us?
normally what I would do in a job interview, right? Is I would be like, well, tell me about your company. What do you guys do?
No, I mean just in terms of like anything that you want people to like check out as far as your work and.
Oh yes, well they can do that. That would be lovely. That would be absolutely fabulous. Yeah, they can go on my website, www.lotustheorydesigns.com. Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. Go see my work. I have blogs. I have some tutorials. Not on this, unfortunately. That was just for me in a time of just needing to escape into Aladdin. I feel like this reminds me of Aladdin. Like I feel like it flew in on a magic carpet.
Really?
Yes.
I'm getting like that.
The whole time I'm doing it, I'm going, a whole new world. The time.
It's funny. I watched that yesterday.
Yeah.
I watched the movie yesterday, but I'm getting like that. What is that? Is it steampunk or whatever? That whole vibe from it.
That's the masculine part that you're noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the coloring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I said that as I pay attention to the colors that you're choosing on your work.
Mm-hmm.
Just some stupid thing that I do, and I'm like, I know why she's using that.
Okay.
I don't know if she knows why she's using that, but
Yeah.
I know why.
I like it.
If I'm ever down, I'll check in with you. Hey, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Because I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I can't think, right.
I'm weird like that. I just I try to make sense of people's styles.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe it's from the photography stuff, but there was like always certain people that I just always watched, and I would just like study what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like
I don't
it.
know.
think
I
it's
study
very
I study your color choice.
So then let me ask you, do you find that by studying people's work and what they're doing that you get some insight into their psyche?
Possibly. I mean, it's obviously, if I have any, it's super broad. It's not like I can't tear somebody's whole existence apart by a piece of furniture.
by this beautiful dresser.
Yeah. I could just tell. I can tell to a certain degree, like if I looked at somebody's artwork, whether it's yours or somebody else's, I have a pretty good idea of the gamut of things that would really set them off if they saw somebody else's artwork. They'd be like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!"
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
you could just tell what they're visually attracted to.
Sure.
And I can also tell that when they do something out of their norm, that may look good to other people, but I can tell that when they're uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. I've had a few of those myself where I was uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, where everybody else is like, that looks good, but you could just tell in the work that
Mm-hmm.
that you struggled putting it out there
Yeah.
because it's out of your norm, it's out of your comfort zone.
So what's your most favorite piece that you've done?
Well, right now, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's awesome.
No, actually, I don't think that you guys showed it, but there's a purple one, and I used these moldings to create like a wing spread going across it. That was probably one of my favorites. That's like the first one that comes to my brain.
I'll have to check it out.
And it was just kind of emo, a little dark. The wings that I created using a whole bunch of these were kind of dripping, so.
That's cool.
So how do people go about buying your work?
My website.
Is it?
I mean, my social media is great for getting leads, and people will, eventually end up on my website from social media and YouTube and whatnot, and Etsy, but mostly on my website.
Do you allow customers to get into a bidding war?
No, it just is what it is. I don't want the drama.
First come,
Whoever
first
gets
serve.
it gets it,
Yeah.
I
So-
thought about doing that, like an auction, maybe as like a fundraiser or something, but just the drama. I like things clean, you know.
I'd be like, you got here first, it's yours.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a customer try to do that where they're like, I know you still have it, I'll give you more?
No.
No?
Hmm. No, that hasn't happened to me yet.
You're just like, wait a minute. How come you guys are not doing that?
I've had them try to talk me down, but not up.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo, but when there's certain things I know that that's the only one,
Yeah.
I would do that.
You're going to up the ante.
I would up the ante. I'd
Yeah.
be like, no, that's mine, motherfucker. That is not yours. I don't care if you got here first.
Have you ever...
I've done it.
You've done it?
Happened to me. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Have you ever done, trying to think of how to word it, like one item, have you ever duplicated anything? Or they're all individual?
That's a good question.
Unique.
I have, and I don't like to do it.
Yeah.
I think I did it. I had a piece that I did, and it was also purple. Purple's my favorite color, by the way. And this woman in Texas loved it so much that she wanted me to recreate it. And I did. And I just felt like something was stolen from me when I was done. So at this point, it's kind of like, get it while you can. I don't really want to have to recreate it because it's not fun. Once I'm done, I'm done.
You got it out of your system. It's done.
Exactly. You know, it's done. It's in the past.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So has anybody ever bought a piece from you where they're like, I would really like you to give me additional pieces that flow with it? So they had like a complete set?
Yes. I actually have a woman that bought a dresser in Florida. Same thing. She, that you're asking me, she bought a dresser and wants me to do some end tables to match it. However, they won't be exact. So it's a lot easier for me to do something that, as you said, flows rather than, doing the same design on each piece.
Yeah.
Has anyone... Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's boring. Go ahead.
Has anyone ever come to you with with a piece of blank furniture or just plain furniture and they're like, I have this idea, can you create it? Or is it just you present what you have?
No, they have. So back when I did customs, they would do that. Unfortunately, I have many superpowers, but, reading minds is not one of them. And so in my contract, I would try to lay out what it is that they're asking as best I can, have them sign it. In the contract, it would say, it's based on artist interpretation.
Yeah.
And, I would try. One of the last customs that I did, this is when I was like, I am done with customs. I had a lady and she asked me to do a table for her. And I followed it to a T, the outline that she gave me in the contract. She picks it up. I love it, pays me, takes it home. About a week later, it doesn't match my house. And long story short, she demanded that I repaint it. And I'm like, no. And then she demanded that I help her sell it. And I'm like, no.
Wow.
And there's some backstory to it. She was getting a little nutty, little fatal attraction on me in the meantime. And anyway, I said, you know what? I'll just refund half your money just to pretty much be done with it.
Just to shut her up. Yeah.
Cut your losses. I don't even care. And she said, no, she wants me to do this, this, and this. And I said, I just let her go. I was like, whatever. Comes back about a week later, I think, onto my social media accounts, talking about she's going to send her husband to my house. I owe her money. I mean, it just got so crazy. I could not believe this woman and this situation.
Wow.
And so I was like, I'm done. I mean, these people are nuts.
Yeah.
Not fun, but there are some nutty ones out there. It was enough for me to be like, I am done with custom work.
Yeah.
I'll just do what I do and you guys can buy it. And if you don't like it, then don't,
Right. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's, I've said it before with Julie when I was talking about, any of the work I do. I just don't want to deal with the customers on. It's got to be, I can't ruin it by the customers because they will make something that you love. They'll make you hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't do photography anymore, because I actually really, really enjoyed it. But if I pick up my camera right now today and say I'm going to go shoot something, I just have like this overwhelming like anxiety that's inside of me saying, why are you doing this? Don't do this. This is just going to bring back all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Thing.
But that's why I avoid the customers because of that. And And like you were saying, I had a customer that I was redoing a Jeep, his Jeep frame on, and it turned into a big shit show. I mean, where he came over to my shop with his dad, and I thought thinking that they were going to intimidate me, and I'm like, no.
Wow.
And it was just like
that they just came to bully you. I mean, that's what she was saying. She's going to send her husband to my house. Let me tell you, Arizona is a right to carry state. Don't come to my house.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
I'm like, please don't make me go down that path, because I try my best to not behave that way. I'm like, I really am a civil person, but please don't push me that way.
Yeah. Like, not many people see this. Like, I will turn into a hood rat if I need to.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening with that when he came?
I ended up basically having to pull his dad aside, and I was like, look, I don't know what your son told you, but you guys are not going to come in here and steamroll me. It's just not going to happen. I was like, I'm trying to be reasonable about the entire situation. You're going to pay me for the work I did. And if at this point, I don't want nothing to do with any of it, so pay me up to now and take your shit, get it out of here. And he did, because he realized I wasn't going to budge on it, and they're not going to go in there and beat me up. That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't know. That's after going from the photography and then trying to do that, I was immediately like, nope, we're not doing this again. I got to take control over this. I have to control all of it and keep people from ruining it,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly. You got to protect it. Otherwise, you'll get burnt down.
Yeah. Kind of like psychologists or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing a piano?
I did do a piano. That's a good question. I did my piano.
Aw.
Yeah, I did it in purple.
So Angela's got some ideas in her head that are going to get really expensive to ship.
That's okay. We can save.
We can save.
Hey, acquiring the piano is the cheap part, because they actually have a website called like Piano Adoption. So when people are trying to get rid of pianos, there's a website where they do it for free.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
They're actually buying used pianos is really, really affordable, because they're so hard to move.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are thousands of pounds, and nobody wants to touch them. Yeah. So they're just like, just take it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. That's why we had to leave mine.
I got mine. I got it out of this guy. They just gave it to me. And they're like, just come get it. And I get there, and it's in a trailer. So, if you know anything about like trailers, the stairwell is like really narrow and leads in, and oh my gosh, what a nightmare. Meanwhile, the guy's on his hospice bed while we're trying to move this piano out.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was really, truly a gift, and they were so appreciative that it was going to somebody that would, use it and love on it. But oh my goodness gracious, it was a nightmare. So then the next time I moved, I hired somebody to move the piano. there was no way. No way.
I bought her one when we were back in Arizona, and we moved it home. But it wasn't too bad, because the house when we got it from was a bigger house out in Glendale. And, it was right by the front door. So it's kind of a straight shot out the door into the trailer. Mm-hmm. And then going into our house was kind of a straight shot into the house. But that was still, that thing was crazy heavy.
Yeah.
You can mess up the keys and the whatever the stuff's called inside the guts, by not, and banging it. And yeah, I'm like, I'll just throw some money at the issue. Come get this piano, sir.
Yeah. That's why when we moved, I was like, no, we're getting rid of this, because we'll just find another one in New York. I'm not moving this to New York.
So that's what eventually the dining room is going to become, just the house for the future piano.
Yeah.
Oh, the piano room.
Mm-hmm.
Piano room.
Nice.
We don't eat in the dining room anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't want to keep you too much longer, Bianca. I really appreciate you doing this podcast with us. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. You're some good people.
So I'll put in the links to the video, I'll put links to where you can find all her work. And you got your contact information, I'm assuming, on your website and your Facebook page. So if you guys are wanting to buy something or outbid somebody on that awesome piece of furniture that's sitting behind her, You better act fast.
Yeah.
And give her first bidding war.
Yes.
Or you can buy her. Well, I'm assuming this would be your first sale on an art piece, like a printed or portrait or whatever, whatever you want to call
We did
it.
canvas before, and that sold. That actually got sold and shipped to Florida about 2 weeks ago. So
Oh, so
yeah,
she's
it's
an
my
expert.
second one.
She's big timing.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I got these kids to feed and these bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know?
So throw your money at her.
Yes. Make it rain.
Yeah,
make it rain for her.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless anybody else got something to say. No.
Nope.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. I did want to say something to the viewers. I'm heading back to work, and when you guys see this, I'll already be back at work. So the next episode, not this one will come out. What the hell day is that?
I don't know. What's today?
Well, you're watching it, so it's already out.
The 6th, right? So you're watching this on the day it comes out.
Yeah, you're watching us on the day that it came out, and the next one will be April 27th. So talk to you guys later. Like always, subscribe, comment, like, and tag your friends, share it, whatever you got to do. Peace out.
Bye.